Hello everybody and welcome back. It's quite the awful day today outside, a bit gloomy, a bit rainy, so what better time to go on with the review of Phantom Aria. Today we are here with the color green. Let's start right away. So first we have the Zeong from the classic Gundam series. It's a level 6, 5 cost, 4-3 Zeon unit that links with Charat's navel and says, when paired with a new type pilot, deploy 2 wire-guided armed Zeon AP2 HP1 tokens. This unit can be paired with a pilot. And when it's destroyed, you deploy 1 rested Zeon head, Zeon trait, AP3 HP1 unit token. So this is very flavorful because it really depicts how the Zeong acts in the last episodes of the original Gundam series. So it has the wired arms as its bits, its funnels, and when it's destroyed, only the head is left. So this is our first introduction to a mechanic that seems like it will be very used in the future. So they already said that they will treat the funnels and the bits as tokens, and it seems like this mechanic will definitely be in the color green. We already know that the new Gundam will be a green card in GD05, and we know that a new Cubily in green will arrive with a future starter deck, and they will probably have a similar mechanic since the theme of the deck. So this is our first new type guided funnel and bit unit, and it's honestly a powerhouse. So it's very interesting for starter that it only needs to be paired with a new type pilot. So you can play this in an upgraded version of 1 Year War, and you can put armor on this, you can put Chalia Bull on this, but we will get to this later with Kikaroga. And honestly, for 6 cost and a pilot, this basically generates a 4-3 plus 2 1s plus 1 3 1. Of course, they are basically susceptible to pinging, but honestly, this is a total of 8 plus 3, 11 AP points in a single unit, and they are split in many units. So this is very aggressive. Thankfully, the tokens can't attack the same turn they are deployed. But if you put this on the board and you link it, you have 1 attack and then you will have 2 more later. And if your opponent wants to trade it in their turn, you will have another attack with the Zeong head. So I think this is a very viable and interesting unit. Of course, ping keeps it in check, but honestly, if the tokens had more than 1 AP, this would probably be too strong. So this is very cool, and it passes the test for me. Our second legendary rare is the Gundam Farract from Witch from Mercury. It's a level 6, 4 cost, 5-4 Academy unit that links with Elon Ceres, has Breach 5, and once per turn during your turn, when one of your other Academy units receives damage from an enemy, place 1 EX resource. So this unit was very strong even when revealed, but we had to wait for the full reveal of the set to see the new Elon Ceres, and I think that really saved this unit and gave it what it needed, because the old Elon Ceres in white had no synergy at all with this card, and the new one does. So Breach 5, very strong. You destroy an enemy unit and you basically destroy a base unless it's a 6 HP or 7 HP with the set base. The effect is probably our main EX resource generator in Academy. So quick overview of the new Academy cards. They want to play commands with EX resources. Problem is, how do we get these EX resources? So we are in a very aggro-driven meta, so it's quite likely that even if you lose the dice roll, you will still start second, and so you get the EX resource. But the problem is, if you don't, Academy has quite the difficult in generating it. So this is the main piece that generates EX resources in Academy. The catch is obviously that you only have 4, and we know how this game goes. If you have all 4 of them in your shields, you're fried. But definitely a strong unit that can generate 1 EX resource every turn if you can defend it. As said, Breach 5 is very strong. Elan should be a +1/+2, so this becomes a 6/6. I think this card is also good, but it mostly depends on how the whole Academy package is. So we will definitely see in the future, but this is a great legendary rare for Academy. We then have the GN Armor Type D Trans M from Gundam 00. It's a level 6, 5 cost, 4/5 CB and GN drive unit that links with Lock on Stratos, has Breach 3, and when destroyed, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal 1 CB unit card that is level 5 or lower among them and add it to your hand. Return the remaining cards randomly to the bottom of your deck. So, this is a Charged Zaku 2, basically. Searches a CB card when it's destroyed. It's quite high level, but it links with Lock-on, so it can attack an active unit, becoming a 5/7. It has Breach, so you destroy an enemy unit, and you Breach, so you probably destroy 1 shield, and then when it's destroyed, it will likely give you 1 card back. The problem with the Zaku 2 was that you were basically forced to play it in a green-blue deck, and you would often miss its search, while CB is a very close and synergistic list, so you will definitely always get a unit card unless you have only pilots and bases and commands on there. But this recycles itself, it breaches, it has good stats, can be linked, so I think this is a cool card that will find play in CB lists, maybe as 2 copies, but it will definitely see some play. Back to Academy we go with the Gundam Elfrid Ur, a level 4, 3 cost, 4/3 Dawn of Fold and Academy unit, links with Sophie Poulon. Once per turn during your turn, when you play and activate a Dawn of Fold command card using any X resource, draw 1. So, as I was saying, the theme for Academy is using commands, using EX resources, so you can get an advantage. We know that drawing cards in green is very difficult. You generally search for them. You can make advantage with other units that do something when deployed or destroyed, like the GN drive that we just seen. But this, if protected and if you can get your engine going, is a steady +1 card per turn in a color that generally doesn't draw. So I think this unit is very, very strong. It's very important that the identity for Academy in this set is split between Dawn of Fold and Academy. We will see this soon with the Gunvolva and with some other stuff, but this is to be noted that this is a Dawn of Fold card, and it works with Dawn of Fold command cards. The other Elfrid is the Gundam Elfrid Torn, a level 5, 3 cost, 4/4 Dawn of Fold and Academy trait unit that links with Noria Dunak, has Breach 3, and says, during your turn, when you play an activated Dawn of Fold command card using any X resource, you may pair that card from your trash with one of your units with Gundam Elfrid in its card name. It's important to notice that this of course works with the Elfrid Torn and the Elfrid Ur that we have just seen, but it also works with the Gundam Elfrid blocker from GD01. The catch here is that that card isn't an Academy card, but it's a Vanadis Institute card, so do you really want to run it in this deck? Of course Academy will be green-white, but you probably want to stick to the Academy team as much as you can, and having just 4 blockers in the deck is probably not that important at that point. Now, this card is very strong because it has Breach and basically gives you a link for free. So imagine you play this on turn 5 and then you activate its command pilot link with any extra resource. You get to do that stuff that we will see later, and then you link this right away without paying anything more, and maybe you can regenerate another EX resource. You can even do that again because it doesn't say once per turn, doesn't say when it's paired, doesn't say when it's linked, so this card will probably be the centerpiece for recycling these commands in the Academy strategy. Now here comes the king, Kikeroga Mobile Suit Mod from G-Quax, my favorite Slender King. Kikeroga is a level 7 for cost 3/6 Xeon unit that links with Chalia Bull and says all your unit tokens gain Breach 1 and during Link, all units that are level 3 or lower other than unit tokens are deployed resting. I talked about Kikeroga when I was talking about the Zeong, and I think you can see it. If you have Kikeroga, all your unit tokens gain Breach 1, you get 3 unit tokens with your paired Zeong. You maybe wanna play Chalia Bull in that deck, so you can link this, so you can even put the Chalia on the Zeong only to generate the tokens. I think this effect is very strong, and I also kind of think that the Zeong synergy is kind of a bait. I think Kikeroga will really shine in a League Militaire deck, and I will definitely try it because you have the means to power up your League Military tokens, and the point with the parts is that they can't attack the enemy player, so if you give them Breach, you can use them to trade freely with your opponent board while also destroying shields. While, for example, the Zeong tokens, they can already attack shields, so it really isn't that meaningful to give them Breach. Of course, Breach is always an advantage because you can clean your opponent's board and at the same time hit their shields. But I think that giving another purpose to tokens that can't attack the enemy player is probably the strongest thing you can do. Now, I think Kikeroga will definitely have to stick to green-blue for now. Only depends the recipe you come up with, but most of the token generation is in blue, with the Corsica, the white base, the League Militaire, and so on. Zeon, of course, has some token generation. You can play this in Cyclops if you want to, but I think that green-blue is the strongest you can go. The During Link effect is interesting, but it's because this comes down at turn 7. So, of course, if you're playing with Turbo Aggro, you, for starters, need to have survived until the turn. But other than that, at that point, all their GMs, Isaacs, and so on will enter tapped. And that's basically strong because you can just trade them right away. So it means that any unit under level 3 is basically a dead draw for them. But I still think that the most impactful part of this card is giving Breach to your tokens. And I think this can definitely be a centerpiece of a new deck if it's built the right way. We have the Gundam Curious Tail Booster, a level 5 for cost 5/3 CBNG and drive unit that links with Hallelujah and Hallelujah. On deploy, you choose one of your units paired with a Super Soldier Pilot, and during this turn, it may choose an active enemy unit that is level 4 or lower as its attack target. For some reason, this attack an enemy unit effect is very restricted, requires to have a Super Soldier Pilot, which basically is Hallelujah, and says that it can only attack a level 4 or lower, which honestly is pretty average, but the requirement of the Super Soldier unit is quite restrictive. Even though you can play 8 Hallelujah in red-green CB, it's strange that he says this, even though we know that the CB strategy is generally based on if you have a pilot do this. Anyway, this is a pretty strong card, 5/3, and can be linked. You can also choose itself with the deploy effect, and the more the game goes on, the more we notice that being able to attack an active enemy unit is very strong if you can't rest them or if you don't have some burn commands to destroy them, because very often Aggro is in a position of just passing the turn with all their units active, so they know they can swing the turn later with that, and attacking an enemy unit becomes very strong. But the point is that you need units to do that, because for example in GD03 we had the Breach Crew command, but that's just a command that gives you that option, and we also had that one looks a lot stronger for Clan, but that's just not enough. While having a unit that enters the game and says you can attack an enemy unit is very strong, and I think this Tail Booster can see some play in a red-green CB list. We have the Gundam Aria rebuild. Quite a sad story about this. I think almost all of us expected a Caliban legendary rare for the new Suletta because she's in the cockpit in the art, and the only new unit for Suletta that we got was this. And even in past set, we only got the rebuild that has high maneuver and gets blocker with commands in your trash, but this is still an okay unit. It's a level 7, 5 cost, 5/5 Academy unit that links with Suleta Mercury. On deploy, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, you may reveal 1 Academy unit card or command card among them and add it to your hand, and then you return the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck. This is still strong because it can get you a unit, so you play a unit and you net a unit in hand, and as said before, with the GN drive, it's a very strong thing to do. But you can also get a command card, which basically means a pilot, and so you can link another unit, you can attack, you can do some stuff. Generally, it's still a strong card, and with Suleta becomes a 7/7. It's very high level, so you'll maybe play 2, maybe 3 of this in a deck. I think this will still see play because, as said, it nets you a card in hand, but I think we expected more for her with the new rare pilot. I'm sure it will come in GD05 though. We have the Gun Volva, a level 3, 2 cost, 3/2 Dawn of Fold and Academy unit. On destroy, during your turn, if you have another Dawn of Fold unit in play, play 1 EX resource. This is your main way of early game ramping in Academy. As I said before, the Farret is probably the centerpiece, but it comes very late, and this is your mid-game way to get EX resources. And the interesting thing is it's not limited in any way, so even if you already have one, you can put another. And this is also very, very synergistic with the new Elan Ceres that we will see later. We have Garma's Dop, a level 3 1 cost, 1/1 Xeon unit that links with Garma's Zabi, and on deploy, you look at the top card of your deck and return it to the top of your deck, or you place it in your trash. This is a Dop from GD01 that comes down 2 turns later, has a link, and also puts 1 card in your trash. Is this valuable? I'm not sure of it. With Garma, it gets some advantage because when it's destroyed, you put 1 EX resource, but I don't really see this making the cut in a Xeon deck, because best you can do with the trash thing is putting a Char in your trash and then get it back with the Charles Galgok, and that's basically it. And what's the point of a DOP that comes down the turn on turn 3? The whole thing with DOP that we even stopped playing was just it going down turn 1 and fixing your draw. So I don't think this will be that much valuable. We have the Bigro, vanilla, level 5, 3 cost, 5/4 Xeon unit that links with Top 1. And that's it. We then have the Zacrello, which is a little more interesting. It's a level 3, 1 cost, 4/1 Xeon unit, no links. On attack, you choose 1 active enemy unit and it gains blocker during this turn. This is a very, very peculiar card, just like Zacrello is a peculiar unit. You can do something with it. If you give blocker to an enemy unit, you can destroy it with the small Shenlong. You can do 5 damage with the Ultron. You can damage it with the Big Zam if you want to remain on Xeon. And if you put Top 1 on this, it won't even get damaged if it's blocked. But biggest drawback for this card is the 1 HP, because it just gets pinged by a Mikazuki, by Adapt, by a Kshatriya, by everything. So this can make some funny build, but I don't see this getting played competitively. But it's still a very, very peculiar and fun design. So I've seen people hating on this, but I say kudos. Like, this is some stuff, you know. This really is a glimpse on what this game can mechanically become. We have then the Gundam Dynamis GN Full Shield, a level 3, 2 cost, 2/3 CB and GN drive unit that links with Lock on Stratos, and once per turn, if you have a CB pilot in play, when this unit receives damage from an enemy, reduce it by 1. This is a recurring theme on Phantom Aria. There's a lot of damage reduction units, a lot of damage reduction commands, we will see one later, and so on. This is so and so as a unit, because the real point is this better than the level 3 2 cost 3/3 vanilla Dynamis? Probably, because it gets 1 less damage every turn when it's linked, or even when you have another CB pilot in play. But the point is that becomes a 4-5 when it's linked, and this becomes a 3-5 when it's linked, and that's a lot of difference because the other destroys an null freeze, destroys the new flat, and this just doesn't. So it's a card that needs to be tested to really see its potential. And I think the potential is there, but it's still to be tested, you know? We have the Choo-Choo's Demi Trainer, a level 3 to cost 3/2 Academy unit that links with Academy trait, very important. And on attack, you choose one of your other Academy units. During this turn, you may choose an active enemy unit that is level 3 or lower as its attack target. This is a card, you know? I said before how important it is to attack active enemy units, especially in green, and this card doesn't do that on deploy, this card does that on attack. Of course, level 3 or lower is kinda meh, but it's most of the blockers, it's most of the units played in aggro, so it's, you know, a lot of cards. And this can do that every turn unless your enemy decides to swing to it, and so probably lose another unit. So this does an enormous advantage. It links with the Academy trait, so you can link this with Suletta, you can link this with Elan, you can link this with Sophie, you can link this with Norea, you can link this with Shadik if you want to play it. It's an absolute powerhouse of link unit that can maybe swing for a game even at a certain point. You can link this with the effect of the Elfree Thorn. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and it's to be tested, of course. Only has 2 HP, sadly. Still 1 more than the original Choo-Choo Demi Trainer from GD01, but I think this might be an MVP in Academy decks, so keep an eye on it. This one will definitely not be an MVP on Academy decks. It's the level 2, cost 2, Hendry. It's an Academy unit and it's a 3/2, and I don't see a point in playing this unless you're playing the sealed pre-release event. And then we have Xavier's Gian Hakuji packs from G-Packs, a level 5 3 cost 4/5 Xeon unit that links with Xavier Olivet or Valedictorian common card, as you might probably know it. I love the Gian Hakuji, and this is just a vanilla card that once again will only be played in sealed, and you can't even link it in sealed. And I still hope we will get a rare card for it in the future, maybe even a legendary rare, but I don't want to have too much. Has the big lance, and that's very cool unit. And that was it for the green units, so let's get to the pilots. Our rare pilot for green in Phantom Aria is Suletta Mercury, a level 5, 1 cost, +2/+2 Academy pilot that says, during link, once per turn, when you play and activate an Academy command card using any EX resource, if you have no remaining EX resources, play 1 rested EX resource. Suletta is another centerpiece to the EX resource strategy in Academy. It's very cool that she's a +2/+2 now, and it's very cool that it says Academy command cards, while for example the Elfrieds are about that Dawn of Fold cards. So for example, if you play a Shadik with this, you still get your EX resource back. The thing is, you have to already have 1 EX resource. So as I said before, you have to really mash the pieces together to make this work. And I will definitely try, because I think this green-white Academy deck will be interesting. But as I said, with a new rare pilot, we expect the legendary rare, probably the Caliban, and it will come in GD05 hopefully, and we will see, maybe it will help. Even if it's just like the H2 normal from GD03, you know, on link you deploy 1 EX resource, that will still help a lot the archetype. Overall, still a good pilot, and we have seen the alternative art for this. I will make a video when all of them are out, but it's very beautiful. Chef Kiss, Suletta Mirin, give me more. We then have a Garmazabi from the original Gundam, level 3, 1 cost, +1/+0 Xeon pilot. During link, when it's destroyed, if you have no EX resources, you play 1 EX resource. I said this before when we were talking about its DOP, and it's something, but do you really need it? Xeon is generally a very aggro deck. Of course, 1 EX resource means you can play 1 more 1-drop during your turn, but you do the Garma Dop, you get a +2/+1 AP unit, and that does absolutely nothing and then dies, and it ramps of course, but why? We have the Elan Ceres, the successor for the one that we had already, if you have seen Witch from Mercury. These definitely came in clutch with the full reveal, and I honestly have no idea why they didn't reveal this with its legendary rare, but here we are. It's a level 4, 1 cost, +1/+2 Academy Pilot. During Link, when it attacks, you may choose one of your Academy units, and during this battle damage this unit would receive is dealt to that unit instead. This is a variation of that Chang Buffet Breach effect. You can protect your Farak, and you can even protect other units, but the real play is choosing the Gandvolva as your sacrificial pawn, so it gets destroyed and you get 1 EX resource. And that way you can really ramp. Of course, there's a strategy that needs a lot of pieces on board. You need the Gandvolva, another Dawn of Fall unit, you need a link for Elan and Elan, but it works, you know? So 4 Gandvolvas in every deck, and you just do this, and you farm your EX resources. This is a cool pilot for Academy. We then have Tokwan, talked about him with the Zacrello. It's a level 4, 1 cost, +2/+0 Zeon pilot. When this unit is blocked by an enemy unit that is level 4 or lower, it can receive battle damage during this battle. As said, it synergizes with its Zacrello because you attack and you give blocker, and they just probably don't block you because they get destroyed and you don't. But still, with this it becomes a 6/1. It can destroy a 6 HP base, but it still has 1 HP, so they don't block it and then they just ping it or attack it the next turn and it's destroyed and you've lost a unit and a pilot. Can this be played as a tertiary pilot in a Zeon deck, so you can maybe link it with the Galgog and it becomes a 6/3? You can, but will you? I'm not sure of it. And that concludes our green pilots for today. So let's take a look at commands and bases. Our rare command for Phantom Aria in green is quite divisive. It's Encounter, a level 5, 1 cost. On main, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, you may reveal 1 pilot card among them and add it to your hand, and then return the remaining cards randomly to the bottom of your deck. This is both strong and not, because 5 cards are a lot, and this can really net you a pilot when you need it. But the problem is, if your deck was shuffled in a way that it had all the pilots on top, or all the pilots on the bottom, and this in the middle, you get to a point when you draw this and you basically draw nothing because you used it and you just bottom 5 cards of your deck. Of course, this also means you get 5 cards closer to the possibility of drawing a pilot, but it's still... I think it can find its purpose in maybe a 1 pair, 2 pair, just to, you know, get your outs to draw pilots better. But it's to be tested, and statistically it should work. But we know that sometimes statistics just want to fuck you up. So we will have to test it and see, basically. Then we have Indiscriminated Violence, or also Noria Dunok, a level 5 of 1 cost, pilot command. On main, choose 1 friendly Academy unit, and during this turn it may choose an active enemy unit with 5 or less AP as its attack target. If you use an EX resource to play this card, choose 1, 2, 2 friendly Academy units instead. As a pilot, Noria Dunok is an Academy and Dawn of Fall pilot that gives +2/+0. This is a very strong card. I could even say a 4 pair in an Academy deck, because it grants you to attack an active unit. It can even make you attack 2 active enemy units, and if you are able to choose the Farak with these, you even breach 5 attacking an enemy unit. Is basically doing the Wing Gundam from the starter deck, and you can even take no damage because you redirect the damage to another card if you have the Elan Ceres on it. This can also link itself with the Gundam Elfrid Thorn if you have it out. This is the definition of a card. It's a pilot command that it's both strong as a pilot and as a command. We then have Destined Battle, which is a cool card, honestly. It's from the end of the original Mobile Suit Gundam series. It's a level 2, 1 cost. On burst, you add it to your hand, and on action, you choose one of your rested unit, and during this turn, all enemy units must choose that unit as their attack target when attacking. So before we go any further, it's important to note with the frequently asked question. If you use more than one during a turn, your enemy can choose which unit to attack. But if you play this when another unit that draws attacks on the field, for example the H2 normal, your opponent has to resolve this effect first. So it will have to attack the unit that you have chosen, and then only then it can attack the H2 normal. And this is a clutch card, honestly, because you can even play this on aggro if you want to protect yourself from an enemy aggro or a blocker with suppression deck. When they do their last swing and they think they can win, and you just play this, or even better, you burst this and you play it, and you can protect your last shield of your life. But in the end, it always comes down to with how much I want to win versus how much I want to be protected against my opponent winning. So another card to be tested, but one that definitely has potential in my opinion. And then we have Witches from Earth as a commander, Sophie Poulon as a pilot, a level 4, 1 cost. Main interaction, choose one friendly academy unit and during this turn, reduce the next damage it receives by 2. If you use any extra resource to play this card, reduce it by 4 instead. And Sophie Poulon is an academy and Dawn-of-Fold pilot that gives +1/+1 to your units. Interesting effect, but definitely less useful than Noria Dunok. I mean, this can still be a mini and also a maxi version of Unforeseen Incident, but it also protects you from close combat, battle bases and so on. And you can even use this to protect your Farak when breaching. You can do a lot of stuff with it, but at the end of the day, I still think that Noria Dunok gives you more advantage on board, basically. You still want to play this because of all the shenanigans, but maybe a 2-pair in the deck. And that concludes our commands and commands pilot in green. So let's take a look at our last 2 cards for green, which are the bases, and it's Abao Q as our rare base for green, a level 5, 1 cost, 05 Xeon and Stronghold card. On burst you deploy it, on deploy you add one of your shields to your hand. While you have a rested Xeon unit in play, this base can't receive battle damage from enemy units that are level 4 or lower. So, is this a strong base? Yes it is. Is this that strong? I don't know. This is basically a buffed version of Ptolemaios from the CB starter deck. What really makes the difference here is that level 4 is a lot more than level 3. Ptolemaios only protected you from level 3, this protects you from level 4, so this means this can't be destroyed by an Anksha with a pilot, this can't be destroyed with from an Amuro Gundam, this can't be destroyed with basically any aggro strategy, since most of aggro decks stop at level 4. So they have to trade with your whole board so they can attack this. But on the other hand, with any other deck, they will just have units to destroy it. Once again, it has to be tested. The point ultimately is there better green bases in a Xeon deck? Because of course you can play Underground Desert Base and that gives you 1 more HP, but on the long run, these might prove to be more useful. And of course, if you play, for example, 1 Year War, you have your mandatory 2 Corsicas, you can play the white base, but in the right place, this really gives you a lot of advantage. I think this card has to be tested. And if you're playing a pure Xeon build, this is probably the way to go. Maybe 2 Zanzibar into this. Overall, it's a strong base in my opinion. And our last card is from Academy, and it's the 9th Tactical Testing Sector, a level 3 1 cost, 05 Academy and Stronghold base. On burst you deploy it, on deploy add 1 of your shields to your hand. When you place any extra resource, you choose 1 friendly Academy unit and it gets AP +2 during this turn. It's a strong base in my opinion, because it doesn't say once per turn, and AP +2 is a lot. Once again, everything in Academy depends on how fast and how good can you put the engine in motion. Same thing for Abao Q though. In green-white, do you really have better bases? You can play Argama. You really don't want to play Archangel because you're probably not playing any blockers. You can play the Underground Desert Base, and it's a 06. but it doesn't synergize in any way with your deck. So isn't this actually good? Another base that has to be tested, but another base that I think will find play in that deck, at least as a 2 copies per deck. And that was all for green. I think the new Xeon cards are very interesting. I especially like Ikaruga, as I said before. I think the new Green Academy part is very cool to be tested, and you really have to find a way to make it work. And it's still to be seen if it will be casual good or competitively good. But I think it can have a shot, and maybe it will when they had new units for Suleda. As for CB, I think CB had a better red part in this set than it does with the green, but it's still some good cards. So overall, I'm satisfied with green, and let me know what you think about them, what's your favorite card from this color in Phantom Aria, and I will see you in the next video with the color red. Bye!